Hey, how's it going, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Ennealogy time. I appreciate that you're here for my first solo. So, there may be a bit of like crazy things that may happen, but that's just how it's going to roll. So just bear with me as I go through this being my first solo time, and let's see what happens from here. We may have a few laughs. You may see me do a bit of following, but if I'm not doing that, then I'm not being human now, am I? So just let me know that y'all can hear me, that everything's coming through just fine, that there's no issues. I know that the intro video was stopping and going, so I don't know how well my internet is going right now. However, we'll do the best that we can with what's being given, eh? So I have a bit of things here to really bring forth to you today, because there was a few things that I had going on that I was thinking, what do I bring to this first solo, and I had like a few things just come up, and just really just like, oh, give them this, no, let's do that. Thank you, Cindy, I appreciate that. And and the more and more it got closer to me coming here on this live with you, it was then the last couple of days something really just come through that I feel is a great start to this new show that's going to provide you with hopefully an enormous amount of insight that I'm mastering being able to convey in ways that you'll be able to understand the importance and the significance and the profoundness to any and all information that I'm coming here to provide you with. So of course, if y'all know me well enough, in order to feel like I can stay on point and provide this information to you in a way where, as I convey it, it's in an ordered fashion. Of course, I come here with definitely a PowerPoint. So I know that for a lot of individuals, even for myself, I have a better way of cognition, so to speak, that if you present it to me in a way where I'm able to see it, and you give me something that I can relate that message to, that is being conveyed, my mind, more so my brain, is able to calculate that in a way that it recognizes something as this, that, or the other, depending on what it is that they are, utilizing for that picture or those words or the format that they're utilizing, that my brain will recognize, and my mind will be able to just have there in that, that meeting place that we always speak about. And so, yeah, this is what I'm bringing to you. This is who I am. And, I want more and more for the ones that come here, such as yourselves, that come here for this information, that come here for this guidance, that come here for the tools that Tanya and I each week have been bringing forth, and doing all that we can to bring as much of that information to you in a way and in a form that you're able to utilize it, where you get so much from it that it assists you in ways that shifts you and excels you and helps you to understand more about this journey called life. And so as I go along, like I said, there may be a bit of following, there may be a bit of, technical issues, and I'm not bringing that to myself. However, being a being that can be between these two realms, much less other realms that I've traveled, because I did take a nap before I did get up and prepare for this. And man, let me tell you, there's something new just about every day that I could bring to the table to speak about as far as what I experience. And the one thing I definitely want to point out here is I have an ability to bring forth information. However, that information comes forth through me by my way of the ability to understand it for self. And so always know that my only goal, since I've even begun this trek, this journey along with Tanya, is to only provide you with information that gives you back to you. And in every way that I come forth and I come in, to this screen, I will always provide the most up-to-date information of my understanding each moment and each time. Know that as I go along and as I continue to grow and as I continue to understand more and more about the being I am, and I come to you each week, the information will change, because the one thing that we can always count on is change, because that is inevitable. Whether we like it or not, whether it's something that we resist or we go with the flow with, is something that we've always been given. We've always been presented with since coming into this realm of, excuse me, what you call physicality. And therein lies the beauty of where we begin to understand that, even in this realm, there's already duality that we're born into. And then we have these two realms. And in those two realms, I won't say that they're dual in themselves. They're just two beautiful places. When you're able to tap so much into knowing more and more about who you are, and you begin to understand that life actually is meant to be fun. It's meant to be experienced in a way where in being in the beings that we are, our main purpose and goal coming here is to get to know who we are individually, so that we may express ourselves fully and experientially to one another. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just going to pull up this PowerPoint, because there is a point to this. Always know that when I come here that I've always got a point to make, because everything is about a point. It's about the point within self in where we are. It's about the point of what we experience in our everyday life here in this realm. What is the point? Are we missing the point? And to come to understand that for myself has been experiential. It's been fun. Just looking at myself and having those reflective moments where when I had interactions with, say, individuals that we consider our elders, and knowing that even in my time of what you call a neophyte, and I still have a little bit of that in me. I will not lie to you. I still have some neophyteness in me. But the one great thing is during this process of remembering and reflecting and becoming the greater being that I am, to become the adept that I continually every day to strive to become and be, and excel in that. When we would I'd have these conversations with them, they would always say, you're missing the point, or that's not the point. And, and in those days, in those times, I'm like, what do you mean? So as I look back on that, and from this place where I'm at, it makes so much sense now that as we do, it's not as much about age as it is about growth of self, that we get to that space and place where we understand more that the life that we were living up until we hit these epiphanal places within ourselves, that it was never meant to be as serious as we made it out to be. And so with that, let's get started. Let me throw this PowerPoint up here, and let's see where it takes us. Okay. All right. Give me a moment here. Let me get this added to the stage. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So I've thought that it was very important in that I bring forth to you what this, I don't want to call it a show because, I mean, it's not really a show yet. I guess it is. But what it is it's information. It's the truth of the information I've come to understand for self, where I'm mastering the ability to bring it forth to you in its honesty, through transparency, to let you know that I am no different from you or anyone else, because I'm here having a human experience just like you. And as I go along in this, I can only get better. And with your assistance and with your help and with your support in all that I'm bringing forth here, all I can do is get better. And as I get better, I can see that it's assisting you in getting better in who you are. And that right there tells me I'm accomplishing what I've set out to do. So I want to convey this to you. I want you to know I'm always going to come here and I'm always going to be upfront. I'm always going to be honest. I'm always going to let you know that I have the struggles still, even though I have this knowledge, I still have to recognize that there's still those, as we was talking about the R complex, there's still that monkey mind because there was so much conditioning, throughout this time that I've been here, and to come to understand in that time through that conditioning that, I can't see things as good and bad anymore. I look and when I see something that's before me, it's something that's reflective of the being that I am, the being that I must recognize, in knowing that I might not have caused it. However, to look and to understand at a deeper level of self that my lineage was a part of the things that are happening, that I am the one who's stepping forth and stepping up and saying, I'm in the space and place of taking responsibility for my line, for my part in this, by correcting, by, transmuting and allowing myself to clean up this DNA lineage that I'm a part of. So this is how I see what my purpose is in this, is to first clean up the mess that my lineage has created by recognizing that what's taking place right here, right now, was a cause of that. And when I look at it in that perspective, I don't look at it as good or bad. I look and I see and I say, okay, I see this happening before me. Now I know what I need to do to change within myself, so that way this information that my DNA is recorded in a proper sequence, is recorded in a correct way that states that this is what I saw, this is what it gave me, this is the solution I was able to formulate from that experience. And I'm notating this within my DNA, because you see, that's how we live for years. It's because the DNA, the structure, holds the information of the lineage before, and the lineage before, and the lineage before. So this is how I want to be able to convey all the information of my understanding. Now, whether there's truth to it or not for you, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just here telling you who I am. I'm here telling you what I understand. And my only goal is, like I've said, and I will continue to say, to give you back to you. So let's get on into this. So I have my goal, the purpose of the reason why I'm sitting here before you, and of course the results. And in that, what that is that as I give you what my goals are. And believe me, there's so much more to it than what you see here on the screen. So much more. However, if I give you something that gives you that general clue and idea of who I am by telling you what my goals are here, even if it's just 5 of them, knowing that there's a slew of them, then I have a starting point and you know where I'm coming from. So I'm not going to read all these off. I'm just going to allow y'all just to read them as you're sitting here watching me. And I'm just going to go through and maybe just hit on some key points here. So like right now in my goal, number 3, apply insights to life's challenges. And I find that to be probably one of the most important aspects to anyone conveying any type of information that may bring about knowledge that hopefully taps into the individual that you are when you go to the mind and you allow the mind to give you the information because you sit with it, because you sit in observation and not in judgment. Then that's where you say you meet in, you meet at your meeting place. This is where you can say that you sit down and you meet with your guides, so to speak. You sit at the round table, so to speak. So this is one of those that as you apply insights, then it's going to foster a self-discovery of through reflection. So that's just, it's almost like I'm giving you somewhat of an order to how to take this information that I provide and allow it to be something that just taps into the order of the DNA, because that's what DNA is. It's information. And that's where things like the Akashic records come from. And when we hear someone speak about things, and depending on how they bring it forth, determines how much it taps into the information that already resides within that DNA code. So as I go along in this, my purpose is to, like number 1 says, it says to cultivate deeper self-understanding and acceptance. And this is all of this right here must first start in one place first, and that's within you. Everything has to take place within you first to understand how you convey it from without. Because when you begin to understand it as fully and as deeply as you can each day, that you give yourself that time to sit and reflect, and sometimes all we have is our past to reflect on. And if that's what you must utilize to have these deeper understandings of self, then so be it. Because that's the beauty about this process, is that when we can get to a place where we don't have to use our past any longer, then we can be in the present. However, there is where we have the aspects of ourselves where we jump to the future, pre-predicting or creating scenarios or experiences we say we want to have. But it's one of those that even in that, there's a little bit of what you would call a little bit of duality. And that's just the causation of life until we find that certain particular spot in that place within ourselves that brings us to a center that keeps us present at every moment. Then and only then can we find that unification, that peace, that bliss, that joy, and to understand that's where we create the paradise we say we want to have and to fully experience in this place, this realm of manifest. So the result is self-awareness leads to profound personal transformation. And it does. For me, I am an example of that. And it's so profound when you read these words and you see them at a different level when you're seeing it from within yourself, because you are these words. These words mean so much because the power of those words really lifts you in your vibratory state, which expands your frequency. And, as you gain this knowledge and information, as number 3 says on the results, it says clarity guides purposeful life navigation. So you see, even in this, when you look at the word navigation, what that speaks to is that, okay, we've come here and our mapping system, so to speak, when we was born into this realm, which I will get into later, it was overridden. It was fed a virus. It was distorted, that you really, you knew you was coming here already with a mapping system to have the experience of self, so you would understand yourself for each time you chose to come back, because that's what this is for us to come here to know ourselves individually before we go back to the new place of unification. So there's so much more to this, and I'm sitting here and I'm excited and a little, nervous at the same time. And I feel that, I think that's what Janie calls nervous-sidedness. So yeah, it's one of those that this is about just having fun while getting the chance and opportunity to be given information and knowledge that helps us understand ourselves so much more profoundly and deeply, and to understand the powerful beings that we really ultimately are, and to know that nothing can stop us but ourselves. That's it. And like I said, I still struggle with that each day. And so just know that we're doing this together. If you're here and you're with me and you're listening, just to the fact that excuse me, there's just something about me that resonates with you, then that's where the electric side of me and the magnetism side of me comes into play, because the electric side of me is the masculine and the magnetizing side of me is the feminine. So, I feel that over time, more and more will come along, because in my genuineness, I want to be able to convey to any and everyone that comes here to listen that this is about having fun. This is about enjoying who we are. It was always meant to be that way. And all I want to do is be able to give that back. All right. So let's move on. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. I'm actually enjoying just being here with every single one of you. And I want to just come over here to Rumble and say, what's up? I'm Bob. How's it going across 506? Tango, what's up, my friend? All right, let's get on into this. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so no, this is not a typo. I actually did that on purpose. There's a purpose and a reason. The one thing you'll come to understand is if you see things like this, there's a purpose and why I've done it. And you'll find that out. And as time goes on, that I have this uncanny way to bring forth knowledge and information in ways that others may not be able to see or perceive it, that has come to me due to the much extensive etymological research I've been doing. And I still have so much more to do, but do know that this show isn't just going over what the understanding of Ennealogy is. It's also going to bring forth etymology and how the two correspond with one another to understand Ennealogy in an even more profound and more experiential way of perception. So, all right. To thine own self be true. So hang on just a second. The one other thing is the Temet Nosce. Okay, so this is what was on the wooden piece of the matrix when Neo was in with the Oracle, and it means know thyself. And this is what I wanted to bring to you today, because this is the first pebble that creates the ripple in ocean. And when you know yourself so fully and so experientially as you go along in this journey, the more and more you become so confident in that no matter what interactions you have, as time goes on, people will never be able to move you, no matter what response or reply they have to you. Oh, you're being this or you're being that. When you know you're not, and you're able to speak to that, and you're able to speak to that in a clarifying way to individuals that you are interacting with each day. No, that's not who I am. I know exactly what I'm being, because you lack the ability to ask me what I mean by that, or ask me how I'm feeling as I convey something to you. So this is one place in one space where I want to be able to provide as much information as I can that allows you to understand how to stand in that power that you are, because you are uniquely who you are. It's when we as human beings begin to understand that when we step out of that place of judgment of self, then we take out the judgment of others, and then we give ourselves the ability to hear them, because we're listening to hear, not listening to reply or respond. So to thine own self be true in every area of your life from within, for it must always begin within. So I've put this here, and I apologize, I'm a little bit in the way here. Let me see if I wonder if I can move myself. I may just take myself out for a moment just to allow you to see this. Could y'all not hear me or anything? Am I back? Well, of course I took myself out, but it's very important to understand words, because from here on out, it's going to be a strong front, because it's what we're bringing and able to. I apologize, y'all. Can you hear me now? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Y'all just let me know if you can hear me. Let me see if anyone can reply to me here. Yeah, I forgot whenever I take myself out, you can't hear me, can you? See, that's what I'm talking about. Here's those follies. So I suppose y'all have read this, so it'd do me no good to reread it, so that way we can get caught back up here. Thank you. I appreciate that. So when we read over this, it's very important to understand that even in this wording, I changed it from understanding to understanding, because that's where it begins. And in finding our purpose and achieving fulfillment requires the sharing of knowledge, wisdom, and support. So in my knowledge, I've tapped into parts of myself that has brought forth wisdom. And in that, my ability to understand this information the way that I do is to come here and to convey that by a way of support, by giving you guidance, giving you tools, giving you my understanding. Because I know that a lot of people or other individuals, human beings, is that we perceive things differently. We take in information differently, and that's okay. Not one thing fits all. And, and when we come to understand that, the better we understand how to meander in this realm, and how to meander with our experiences with everyday individuals, everyday circumstances and situations that come about. So we'll move on to the next slide. So the greatest thing is that when you get to know more and more about who you are, you will be able to stand in your power and not be moved by someone else and what they say or the response or reaction to who you're being, because you'll know exactly, because of your heart. Your heart tells you, because you're standing in that power of self, you'll know that anytime somebody tells you, oh, you're being this or you're being that, you'll be able to say, that's not who I am. That's not what I'm being. However, if you would like to know, please do ask, and I will tell you. Do not assume something. I am not you. However, I will tell you exactly who I am, what I mean, what I'm being, and what I meant by the conveyance of the message I just gave you. So that's who I am. So we're going to move to the next slide here. And I might not be able to read all this because I'm in the way, unless I'm able to move myself over. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. All right. See, here's some more follies. It's all good. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. So I'm going to read this out loud, and just go over this in its deeper understanding, and we'll go from there. Okay. So we've always known, and this is a title that I created because T was going over and explaining her concept of coming into understanding what a spider web, about a spider web and a spider. And for that, it just was so deep and profound for me, because then my mind just took off and was able to just grasp all this knowledge and information and wisdom that be able to convey something like a spider web. That's what the brain is, and then that's what the mind works with the with the synapses, and understanding that synapses go off when the brain recognizes something that tells you, oh, it's this, yet the mind, is the spider, and the mind says, no, there's something so much more profound. There's something so much more to this than what the brain is perceiving. And this is where we're able to expand our consciousness. We're able to expand our understanding of something. And then this is where we begin to help the two hemispheres to work together in unison here in this realm of the manifest, which in turn begins to help those two energies that are working together to work with the one that sits at the table with them, which is the higher aspect of self. So I want to read this, and hopefully I guess y'all can't see the bottom of this as well, because I'm in the way. So I'll do the best with what I have here. And I may just pull it up separately here, so that way I may be able to read it. Give me just a second. Let me do this. There we go. I'll have it in front of me, so that way I'm able to read the bottom of it for you. So I'm going to read this, and then I'll touch upon it a little bit here. We've always known, in the quiet stillness of your being, there lies a profound truth waiting to be discovered. It is the essence of self-knowledge, the understanding that you are more than the sum of your experiences, more than the physical vessel you navigate the world in. To know oneself is to touch the very core of existence, to connect with the energetic anatomy that weaves through your being, and to embrace even the shadow aspects that dance in the periphery of your light. So you see, you're a light being first, but being here, we're also still that light being. We're just having an experience in a manifesting way. As you journey inward, you'll find that nothing in your life is a mere happenstance. The synchronicities you encounter, the numbers that repeatedly catch your eye, the dreams that speak in cryptic tongues, the omens that appear at the crossroads, are not random threads in the tapestry of your life. They are purposeful, intentional, and deeply meaningful. They are the universe conversing with you, a dialogue that has been going on since the dawn of your existence. And this is where earlier I was speaking about that we already come here with a mapping system, the mapping system that is within us because it's within the DNA. We already know that we're coming here and knowing how that there are certain things that are going to happen in our life that's going to help us understand more and help us remember who we are. And that's where coming into this world, some nefariousness took place by the actions of others that didn't know that it took place to them as well, where the actions they took when we first came into this world by cutting the umbilical cord in a place that they, in doing it too soon and stuff like that, is what basically took the web of this realm and placed it over the web that already we came here with. So I'm going to continue. Every moment, every encounter, every challenge, and every triumph is a reflection of your inner knowing. They are the universe's way of reminding you of who you are and what you are here to do. The matrix of illusions that once seemed so real begins to dissipate as you awaken to this truth. And boy, does it. I mean, it does. You begin to see things that you've never seen before, and it just becomes so profound to you to see it the way that you begin to see it when you know yourself. The world around you shatters not into chaos, but into clarity, revealing the intricate design of a life lived with purpose. And that is so true. The clarity that I have received by getting to know more and more about myself has become so powerful for me, so empowering to be able to see what's taking place and know what's real and what's not. Every moment, every encounter, every challenge, and every triumph is a so I apologize. Remember, the path to self-discovery is not a solitary one. As you can see, we're all sitting here. We're on this self-discovery together. It is a journey shared with the energies that sustain us, the ineffable source that nourishes our souls. This source, though often veiled by the distractions of the mundane, is always there, gently guiding us, lovingly supporting us. And it is. All those times that you had those moments that you were making choices, you were like, man, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to. And you had this profound just nudging that was like, oh, don't do that. No, you need to be here. No, you need to be there. That is our guidance. Those are our ancestors. Those are the ones before us that are speaking to us, giving us that nudge to make a different choice. It is inexhaustibly cherished, and though it may seem beyond mortal perception, it is within reach for those who seek it with a sincere heart. Now, this is the bottom part I'm fixing to read you that you can't see, so that way at least you know what is being conveyed here. Reflect upon your life, not as a series of isolated events, but as a conscious, purposeful stream of experiences designed for your growth. In this reflection, you will remember who you really are, a being of light, of love, of eternal wisdom. And in this remembrance, you will find the strength to continue on your path, illuminated by the knowledge that everything is, has been, and always will be deeply and profoundly purposeful. You are a purposeful being. In everything that you do, you are a purposeful being. And this is where we gain that knowledge and we gain that wisdom by understanding that when we come to know ourselves so fully and so experientially each day, I want to know something new about who I am. I want to know more about what I'm capable of and what I can do with the things that I have going on in my life, whether it's with people or experiences, situations, or what's going on that, I'm being presented with. I want to know what's real and what's not real. I want to know to be able to see enough to say, okay, I see that this is taking place, but I see where there is the illusion, yet understand that for others, it's a reality. And this is where you begin to find that balance because both the hemispheres come together to be able to say, hey, they're talking to one another. And this is where we do away with the duality. This is where we do away with the dualism over time, because we come to understand how to get the two hemispheres to work together to meet in the center for those purposeful self-discovering moments where we tap into the knowledge of the DNA that brings forth that wisdom, knowing that we see this because we know how it came to be, knowing that we're able to see this because we're able to lift that veil that was placed upon us when we were born into this realm, not knowing that this existed, but yet knowing it did, knowing that we ourselves are here pushing through this because we want to know truth. We know that there's a truth that lies within all this, because what we're experiencing is not real, not in the way that it's meant to be experienced, yet it's real in its own way. So this is where this slide comes in. And this is so powerful that Carl Jung said this many, many years ago. And this is where we as human beings must understand that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And a lot of us have. There were times that, I mean, even up to this point, I was like, man, why is all this happening to me? What's going on? What am I not doing right? What is this? What is that? What am I doing? It came down to me recognizing and realizing that the foundation I was handed was not the foundation that was sturdy. It was a foundation handed to me from a source that I didn't know. It was a foundation that really wasn't a foundation to begin with. And that's what I myself had to break through and had to come to understand. This is not a foundation. Yet, because of that, I began to take off on a journey of self-exploration that is built in a foundation that I can stand upon. And that foundation is self. That foundation is that greater aspect of me. And so this is how I've become who I am. I never in my wildest dreams would be sitting here saying that I would be sitting in front of a screen. I never, 10 years ago, I was like, no, I mean, that's not who I am. But look at me now. And I've come a long way, just in myself, much less being here in front of you beautiful beings. So any and everything's possible. Any and everything that you could ever dream of can become true. I'm not sitting here saying that there weren't times that I didn't have those moments that I seen things like this, but to know that it's, anywhere between 5 to 10 years later that I'm sitting here before you it's just profound to me. It's all inspiring and it's beautiful. And I'm proud of myself. And you will be too. You will be too if you're not already. Because if you're here and you're listening and you're just wanting to just know someone's perspective that just sees it differently, that can just tap into an understanding that brings about a greater perspective for self, so be it. Like I said, my way doesn't mean it's the way. It's just my way. So here I am. So I'm bringing this to you. And of course, for some reason, this right here is messed up. And I don't know why. And I didn't realize that until right before I came on. I was like, just didn't have time to change it. So I will post this in the Telegram group for anyone that wants to look at it. So when we are looking at this in what I just read to you is talking about getting to know one another or getting to know ourselves and to understand just a little bit of the history here. I was able to come across this, and you always hear me talking about, it's nice to take that yoke off. And there's so much in-depthness and profundity to the truth of the symbolism that you're seeing here, where you see the nefariousness whenever you get to come to the understanding by the way of gaining the knowledge of understanding what this represents, what all this represents is profound. It's mind blowing when you see things as they should be and yet recognize the tampering that has taken place and what's going on. And so as we look at this, when you look at the yoke, it's for the two cows, or, because they are always utilized to help plow the land. And when you look at this yoke, when you look at it and you understand it fully for what it signifies, the two, when you're looking at it, it says, his requirements, my responsibility. The Messiah's yoke is a doable one. And when I read that, I'm like, that's where I'm able to see the nefariousness. This is where I'm able to see where a lot of these religions have altered the true meaning of what this signifies, what this stands for. Man, what's behind all this is so much more profound and deep. It's shameful to see it written like this, because you can see through it. And all this is representative of the being that we are. This is all representative of the journey we're here to experience, yet nefariously brought to us to confuse us even more, beyond the confusion of them altering our language. So when you look at the yoke, and you see over here on the other one, it says oil, a yoke. It's talking to the Christ oil. It's talking about our ability that we should be able to have, where we can raise the Christ oil, the milk and the honey, so to speak, which gives us that those moments of kundalini. That this is where we have our epiphanal moments. And when we look at this yoke, it's something that is placed upon us when we come into this world, because of the nefariousness that takes place, it has been taking place, where by the actions of the ones that it was done to as well, not understanding what they're doing. So the yoke is actually the two, where you see right here that the yoke is of the two. You got one here and one here, and then you have a centerpiece. Okay. This yoke is placed upon us when they take our birth certificates and they put it on the GUI, and they start trading us on the stock market openly. That enslaves us. This is what this represents now. But beforehand, this did not represent that. But it's what represents us in this here, now, time, space, that they say is changing, and that we are in the process of wanting to take out altogether. But when we come to understand that what they did was, when they placed this yoke upon us by the nefarious actions and deeds that they have been doing all this time, what they did was they imprisoned our ability to stay centered by imprisoning some in certain ways the masculine and the feminine essence of each and every one of us. So you see, this isn't for arms. This isn't for like shackling, but it is a yoke, because then you begin to bear the weight of the debt that they put us in, because they feel we owe them. And in that, when they do that, this is where we begin to bear the burdens that was never ours to bear to begin with. This is where you begin to understand where all the stuff that's taking place in this world right now continues to show itself, and continues to see that this is still something they employ, but they're employing it in so many ways and in so many different levels. Because when you begin to understand that when they did this, that's when they separated the energies, the energy of us, by placing this yoke upon us, by separating us, by sending us to school, by changing our way of being, by causing duality within us between the two hemispheres. And it's this, when you understand it at this level, you begin to understand how to take this yoke off yourself. This is where true sovereignty comes in. This isn't about going and filling out paperwork where you're saying, I'm divorcing you, United States. No, because the last thing you want to do is sign anything else from here on out. This is my understanding. This is how I perceive it. Sovereignty is the ability to go within and to take the two hemispheres that have been separated and bring them back together in their understanding, to see the truth from illusion, to see that you're able to rewrite the programs, or to give yourself the chance and opportunity to come up with the solution to the viruses that collude with mainly our arm complex, our monkey mind. You see, when you understand how to break this yoke, when you understand that this does not represent what it's being conveyed here, this is powerful, this is knowledge. When you come to understand that, when you see these things in the way they're meant to be seen, that's when you step into power of self, the empowerment of the knowledge, of the wisdom that sits within you already, that's being tapped into by way of someone giving you a different perspective about something, if not the truth of the perspective. I cannot get into this, deeply or experientially to provide you with where I've come up with this information, but I do have someone that I follow. I do have someone that gives me the knowledge that I go seek to understand for self, but yet I hear the message that's being conveyed. You see, I'm not just here in a capacity of just guiding and handing you tools off a whim. I as well have someone that I look to, that I call a mentor, that I call a teacher, that has shown me how to look at things so that I may see them fully for what they represent, and then go and look for the information that provides me with that knowledge that tells me how to see it purely in its original form. So this is the message I bring to you today, because when you come to understand how our separation began, how we became enslaved, and yet I show you in ways that tells you how to release yourself from that enslavement. It's to go within, to know self, to gain the knowledge and the information that taps into the wisdom of the DNA that resides within you, that helps you understand that the creative processes in the part of the fun of coming here and playing out this journey and seeing the game for what it is, man, boom. Your creative processes is what changes everything that has taken place, everything that we need to see on that fullness of that level to understand that I see. I'm not looking anymore. I look for the information so that I may see, to understand that this is what the oil helps me to utilize. I gain the information. I look for the information. It turns into knowledge, which helps me to lift that Christ oil up, which gives me the epiphanal moments of the wisdom that is within me, that is within you. You see, and this is where it gets fun to me, because when I'm able to come to understand this at a level and see just right through the BS in the craziness that has been taking place for so long, I'm like, why hasn't this changed before now? And it has been. Slowly but surely it has been. It's just up until this point, there just wasn't enough of us to see. But that's changing, because there's more of us wanting to know truth. There's more of us wanting to know who's being honest, who's conveying this in a way that I can understand it, so that I can change this for myself first, so I know how to change it out here. So I hope I've been able to convey this in a way that you understand it, that this yoke was never meant to be bared. We were never meant to be upon a cross, you see. And I will be able to go into that in a little more in depth as time goes on in these shows to help you understand we were never meant to be upon a cross, you see. To be able to see the nefariousness where the religion altered the text so that we may not understand it at its fullness, so they could keep us enslaved of the yoke that they placed upon us, so that we may never, become. But it's one thing about us as human beings, or first and foremost, light beings. We may come here and we may take in and take on a physical form, but you can never, ever, ever shackle or imprison a soul or light. So you see, more and more of us is tapping into that light of ourselves. So we may alter and put ourselves back on a path of paradise. There's so much to this, y'all. It's so profound. It's so beautiful. It's so clear when you begin to see. And as we go along, even though I'm in this 57 minutes, so if y'all do have any questions, please put them down below, and I will definitely do what I can to get those answered, or I will collect these at the end of each video. And what I'll do is I'll transfer them over whenever I have my once a month Q&A live with y'all as y'all go along watching these programs. Okay. There is one more thing that I want to be able to bring out, because we said that, to a level and degree, and it's easier for me than it is for Tanya to be able to bring in some of the nefariousness that's still taking place even as of today. And the most recent thing that took place was this right here, where supposedly a cruise ship ran into a bridge. And this is where I'm going to be able to bring out where what I just was explaining about the yoke, the separation that takes place, where they take the feminine and masculine and they split them. Where we are in the process of right now bringing those two back together so they can work in unison, so that we may be able to see through these things. I want to be able to express everything that I see about this picture. Okay. This is the war that's going on. But the war is not being fought for us. The war is about us. Okay. The war is for the mind, to keep the mind separated, to keep the energy separate. And this is what this signifies to me. For me, and hear how I'm about to convey this, okay? For me, because I did not witness this, it is not of my reality. Any and everything that I see on TV or on the internet is just that. The internet. Because there's so much of the CGI that's taking place, so much of AI that's taking things and making them look so real, we may not know the difference so much anymore. And this is where discernment comes into play, so important. But that does not mean it didn't happen, okay? That does not mean that the people that were in this immediate area, in this realm, in this point where this took place, it does not mean that it didn't happen. What I'm conveying here is that, as you can see, for everything that is taking place, it is, how would I say this? This is a part of the written scene. This, as you can see, is obviously already pre-done, just like 9/11, okay? So it's one of those that when I look at this, I sit and I say, okay, here we go again. And what this means to me is this is still their way of causing that duality. This is that war that continues to be waged to keep us separated in ourselves first, which keeps us separated out here with one another. You see, this act is an act to confuse us. In the ones that experience this, my heart goes out to them. My heart goes out to them because no one should have to experience this just because of the nefariousness of others who for so long kept that yoke around our necks until we took that yoke off. I took that yoke off, you see. And if there's anything that I can speak to here is, I don't care who they're blaming. I don't care where they're pointing the finger. I don't care. And to a level and degree, the ones that sit and look at this picture and they get mad, that's where the separation begins, people. That's where we cause duality within ourselves. That's where we unfortunately get to a place where we become a part of what's taking place instead of becoming the solution. Because when I look at this picture, I say, okay, I see this is going on. I see why. I see why this is going on, because it's a fight for my mind. It's a fight to keep me dual within myself, and it will never happen again. When I look at this picture, I say, when I see this, it tells me there's still much change that needs to take place within me. So I continue to be that solution-oriented individual so that this does not happen anymore. What is it going to take to change and within me to be the observer? What's it going to take to keep the change going on within me to not have judgment? Because it doesn't matter to me who they're saying it was, how it happened, what took place. That's not what's important to me. What's important is it took place, and what I see is it took place because it's still a fight for me to cause that duality within me, to keep that dualism within my mind, to say, oh, these bastards, what the hell, what this, what that, because they did it in 9/11. And yet it was our own people upon the United States soil that caused that. So you see, when we begin to look through things and not look at them and say, oh, it's because of Ukraine, oh, it's because of Russia, oh, it's because, man, they're in their own little things doing the same thing to their people. You see, when you get to that place where you can see beyond the nefariousness and see it for what it is and begin to say, I will not be a part of this, but I will become the solution of this. By continuing to hold my responsibility of my mind, what I see, what I perceive, what I experience, what I know is real, what I know is not real. And this is me. This is me coming to you with my perspective. With a broader perspective, I feel that is, I'm hoping, conveying a message that speaks more profound than the message they were that they are conveying. That in this picture speaks to me, says, still enough, there's more change that needs to take place with me so that I may know how to understand how to stop this. Because those people that experience this, I can only imagine the trauma for them. That trauma is what continues to create that duality. That trauma is what continues to create depressions, anxieties that we were never meant to bear. This is where those yoking comes in. This is where that yoke becomes heavier upon us because we don't know. But I'm here to tell you, I'm giving you what I can in my understanding so that you may know. So that you may know what the solutions are to stop this. Because when I look at this and I read the things that I read, and I read that in certain areas that our own militaries, our own boys and our own girls are fighting one another because of the duality that exists within our military. You see, I can't just sit here and look at one side. I have to see it all. I can't just sit here and see it from one perspective. There's so much more bigger things at play here. And this is me being real. This is me being honest. This is me being transparent with you by what I see. That if I cannot sit here in front of you and tell you what I see, then I'm not being true. And I will always remain true. And even if that means that there's only the possibility of one person showing up and watching what I have to say here, so be it. All I'm saying is I'm here conveying something that I see because of the work I've been doing within me that gives me the eyes to see now, not to just look. That even though this causes issues, I can't judge it. I can only see it for what it represents and what it means. And that's, I still have a lot that I must come up with the solutions to change this. And that's my goal. That's my purpose. And the end result is the ones that can hear me, that can see that they have the ability and chance to do that themselves by stepping into the power and being the God that they are themselves, that I am, and sitting upon in the throne of self and saying, I take full responsibility for my actions, for my deeds, for my words, for who I am. And seeing this tells me I'm on my way to becoming more and more of that because of what T and I are in the process of creating. We want to be able to create the things that bring about the knowledge of the information that we provide that taps into the wisdom of the human being through getting beyond the programs that they flood us with every day, to know how to allow this human vessel to be tapped more in from the soul that hugs it, surrounds it, loves it, is with it, the higher aspect of ourselves. So I leave you with this. I hope that I have brought you much knowledge, much information in such a short period of time, because this is what these courses are going to be about, bringing more in-depth knowledge and information. And the way that I was able to come into this was the utilization of Ennealogy. So you see, because I didn't create Ennealogy, I just come to understand what Ennealogy stands for and what it is, what it represents. It's a one tool of the all that one needs in order to understand how to be guided back to the truth of the mapping system of the navigation that we are, this vessel. So that way it gets put in correctly. So that way you don't have that blurred screen. That way the next destination that you are meant to go to becomes clear and you question it not, because you know. So everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me this chance and opportunity to do this solo and see how it goes. And please, if there's any questions or anything you may have, please leave them in the comments below. There's more that's going to come. I hope that you've gotten as much as I could have put out in 1 hour and 10 minutes now. So yes, please come back. We'll be back on Sunday. Of course, Alex is on live for Friday, so make sure you show up for that. Other than that, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for allowing me to be who I am. And I look forward to this in the next strong. Till next time, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. And know you're very powerful beings. You're adored, you're seen, you're heard, and you're loved. I bid you a good day. Later, y'all.